Whoopsies.
Yeah, we're done.
Yeah, that was it. That's the
We're
episode.
done.
Bye.
Let's go. We're done.
Yeah.
Thanks
You're
for watching.
Done. Yeah.
This is by far the best one.
Watching?
Thanks for listening.
Listening.
Glistening.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, there you go.
Thanks for doing this.
Thanks for doing
Thanks
this.
for doing this.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the It's Hard to Explain podcast. How's it going, boys?
It's October and it's still hot. This is a crime.
What is it?
It's hell.
like it's 88 degrees outside right
It's
now.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
Fifth?
hot.
It's the 5th.
It's
Fifth.
sticky. I don't like it. I want to die.
Also, there was a gun show going on today, and I was very tempted to go, but
If you
I
want
knew
to go, I'll
nothing
go
of
with
this.
you.
I mean, if you want, you can get out of here.
I got a thing like right
You're
now.
welcome to fuck off.
I mean, no one's forcing
We
you
just
to
said no swearing in the first bit, Jake.
Jake, it's been 30 seconds.
Damn it! Again! Stop!
We were just at a minute, too.
Are you? Oh
Well,
my!
it's been 45 seconds since we started talking and did the intro.
Jake.
Sorry, dude.
We got to start over.
My bad.
We got to start over.
All right.
What do y'all fellows gotten up to this week? Anything interesting? Any new developments in your lives?
Same thing as always. Just
None that I would like to mention now.
go to work and suffer. Come home, sleep, play Space
Repeat.
Marine. Yeah, repeat.
I've
Space
been
Marine.
grinding out Space Marine for a while
Yeah, you're already level 11.
on my assault or tactical class.
Yeah.
See,
nice.
I've been
I only got
playing
25.
nothing except for God of War 2018.
Yeah, you've
And-
been playing that game like crazy.
The other day, I finally 100%ed it. I remember because I joined the call to let y'all know, be like, hey,
Oh, yeah.
and y'all were
Fuming.
fuming
We were
or
like,
something.
didn't
So I
wanna
was just
talk.
like, well, I just stopped in to say hi and I left.
We were taking back-to-back L's, dude.
Yes.
Yeah.
What
That
mission were we
Horrible.
doing?
All, a bunch. We did a couple on
I
different,
think
and it was
our
just...
last one was Inferno on
Substantial?
which is the third difficulty.
Didn't we
out of
try
the
it
four.
3 times?
We tried different
Missions.
levels, and then we were on that one, and I think it took us like an hour, a little over an hour, which those missions are long anyways, but I think what took so long was we weren't getting to the generators in time, and so
Yeah.
enemies just kept spawning, and then those the big guys started calling in more reinforcements. We didn't kill them in time. They just kept coming.
It was not
so
a fun time.
It was, yeah.
And while y'all were doing that, I had finished everything else in God of War 2018, and all I had left was to beat Sigrun, the Valkyrie Queen.
So you're done with the story. You're just trying to 100% it right now?
Oh, no, I'm done now.
Oh, okay.
Whenever I called you, that was right after I finally managed to beat Sigrun because I'd been fighting her for like an hour straight, and I'd probably gone through the fight at least 20, 25 times, and she kept running my fade.
So you're completely done with it,
Yes,
100%?
completely 100%, every
Nice.
achievement, everything.
Nice.
So now I just
should-
got to wait, and once I have the money, I can acquire Ragnarok and play that.
I hope you like it. It's really good. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, it's a very good one.
Yeah. So, I was having a good time that night. There were times there was on one of the fights, I got her down to like the tiniest little sliver of health. I mean, like one more hit and I probably wouldn't have been able to finish her off.
Yeah.
And she did one more attack and killed me.
I hate
Well,
when that
hey,
happens.
hey, I'm glad you had a good night.
Eventually.
We did not.
Like I said, I fought her for almost an hour and she ran my fade about 20 times before I finally got her attack patterns down.
Dude, I'll tell you, Kagan, Ethan, and I, we got on all optimistic. We were like, yeah, it's going to be so fun. The boys are together playing Space Marine.
Oh, God.
How wrong we were.
After the first one, we were like, oh, man, that sucks. So
Oh, dang it.
we'll get back in there and try again. We tried again.
I fucking hate
That's
this place.
Okay, we can do it again. We got in there, did it again. We lost, and we were like,
we did it one more time, and I said, after this, I'm going to bed.
Yeah, I went for a drive.
Kagan was like, after this, if we lose again, I'm done with Space Marine for like the night. No, for like a week.
I'm not going to touch it
Honestly,
until I'm okay.
sounds like a skill issue.
Oh, it was. It was.
It was, yes. it
All
was.
across the board.
I was running some fades though,
Which isn't-
Jake was fighting for his life.
I was doing
Which is
pretty
weird
good.
because me and Jake have played Ruthless just by ourselves, and we've done fine. Maybe it's Ethan. Maybe
I
he's the
told you,
problem.
I'm a bad luck charm.
Maybe he's the problem.
It's your fault. You did it.
I
It's
know,
all your
I'm
fault.
sorry.
No, it's okay, Ethan. Just be better.
Hey, he got a fencing weapon, so maybe he'll have better luck.
I would
Yeah.
like to play tonight.
I would too.
I would too.
If you guys are down.
No, I got a dog sit.
Oh, do you do? Well, you can leave like later though, right? Like you normally do. What time did you leave last night?
Like 11.
I mean, we should have time.
Yeah, it's the weekend.
We can
so.
try, yeah.
We should.
Yeah, we can
Adam, get Warhammer.
Next game on my list is God of War Ragnarok.
Even if he did, it's only 3-player co-op, which I do not like that.
Well, if one of us can't make it, someone needs to be replaced.
yeah, it
And
kinda,
not by a bot.
You know, it kind of
True.
sucks whenever, like, it's like I'll get on and be like, man, I kind of want to play some games, but all my boys are playing Warhammer.
If you ever want to play something while we're
Yeah.
on a different game, you should say, "Hey, you want to play something?"
Yeah, but I don't want to.
We can hop on the old Helldivers.
Oh, don't do that. We'll
Yeah.
finish the mission we're on, and then we'll be like,
It'd
yeah,
be like
man, sure.
walking up behind you. It's like you're playing one arcade game, and I come up behind you and grab you by the hair and be like, "Come with me," and drag you over to like the fucking.
Dance Dance
What
Revolution.
I don't like is the PVE mode is only 3 players, but the PvP is 4v4, right?
I think it's
on
6v6.
Oh, okay. Well, why do they do that? Just add another. Okay,
It's because the captain from the campaign or whatever is like, I can only spare 3 Marines or whatever. I don't
And
know
an
why
update-
they did that.
and an update. The admiral's like, scratch that. We got room for one more.
You've got
like-
room for 4.
Captain
For
Anchorman's
far.
like, hey, hold on, fellas. You know, actually, I can put one more in the drop pod.
So I was wrong. I could spare you 1 more.
well, that's what I don't like is if you look in the drop ship, 2 people sit on one side and one
And then
person
there's
sits
one
on.
person
There's an
by
empty
himself.
seat.
It's like
Yeah.
you can fit one more person. Don't say you can't.
Maybe they're
Maybe
teasing
planning
something.
on
Yeah,
getting
maybe. I
the
hope.
one down the line.
I doubt it because it's in. They
I don't
haven't, unless they change the voice lines in the campaign.
Yeah, Space Marine
Oh,
is a
true.
game that will be played.
Yeah, because operations and the campaign run like parallel to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
You're like B team.
in-
which is really cool.
Yeah,
I think it's cool. And the campaign missions are different than the operations. They're like they're on the same planet, but they're doing different.
yeah. You're in
things,
different.
areas.
Yeah.
which I think is pretty cool. And they're adding a new operation and a new difficulty.
A new difficulty? Is it going to be harder?
I think it's called lethal. The difficulty's called lethal.
Super lethal.
Are they going to buff the weapons?
I don't like that. I feel like all the weapons are pea shooters. Like,
But
they
you
feel
can
like Nerf
upgrade.
guns.
You can upgrade them though.
even when you upgrade them, they still feel like my sword is
Upgrades,
like the
people,
max damage it
upgrades.
can go, Jake.
Yeah.
And it still takes forever to kill even just a tiny dude.
The SMG that I use, whenever it's upgraded, it slaps, dude. It's pretty good.
But it also doesn't help.
shoots.
It also doesn't help that I play.
I'm gonna touch you.
I
sent
touch
all
you
of
in
you-
places the sun don't
I
shine.
sent all of you a post the other day. It was like, you're on my touch list.
Yeah, I saw that. Jake, did you get the one I sent you earlier?
What'd you say?
The Zeke.
Oh yeah, he's
I
yeah.
understand your pain.
Anybody else got anything
Yeah,
about
we
their,
kinda
their
went a
day?
little off
That's
topic.
I mean, that's fine. It's all good.
I mean, not really. Woke
Yeah.
up at like 10 o'clock, which is not normal for me.
I slept and I didn't have to work this morning, so
I worked a 16-hour day yesterday. That was fun.
oh
Yeah.
no.
And they won't give you a raise. That's bullshit.
I'm going to ask for one soon. I'm going to rock up and be like, listen, man, I can survive on the pay I'm getting right now. Like, I'm not like necessarily struggling, but I got things I want to do in my life, and this job just ain't cutting it. It's like I need to get a new car soon. Pretty soon I'm going to have to start saving money for a wedding. Like,
Yeah,
this
a lot of
job
things
just ain't
coming
going to
up.
cut
A
it.
lot of balls in the air,
Yeah,
and
this job is not
You're
going to
not
cut it in the
catching
long
any.
run.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell them, be like, either you can give me a raise or I can find a new job. Like,
Good for you.
they'll probably be like, okay, see ya.
I hope not.
I'm a pretty
I feel like they
essential-
wouldn't.
You've
I'm
been
a pretty
really loyal.
essential
I feel like
worker.
they'd try to keep you.
You'd
Yeah.
be surprised.
The boss likes me a lot, and I'm a pretty essential worker. It'd be really hard to replace my position.
Yeah.
Like, really hard.
But like, do you get praise at your
Yeah.
job like frequently?
Yeah.
That's the difference though, Kagan. Like you did say that you'd be surprised. Like, yeah, sure, people are expendable at jobs, but if you get like constant praise and they really like you and you're an asset to their team, they'll probably try to keep you more often than not.
Yeah,
That's
if you
what-
were a favorite, they will fight for you.
Any job I go to, I've said this before. I don't know if I've said it on the podcast. I try and turn myself
You
into
have.
an irreplaceable asset.
Yeah.
That's something that they can't just let go without at least thinking about it.
Right. Yeah,
I mean,
my
I-
last job I didn't even get a buy.
I feel like that's how I kind of am because I do a lot of
sorry.
things at work.
You weren't my boss.
Bye.
I do a lot of things at work
What?
that normal people get in trouble for.
Bye.
But But I just get like whenever they see me doing it, they just give me like a smile and a wave.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, guess I'm goated.
Guess I'm goated.
Guess I'm goated.
With
Wait.
the sauce?
I'm goaded.
Boys, for the last episode in October, after we get done trick-or-treating, we can come back here and mic up and do the candy exchange.
Yay!
Did you guys do that?
No.
Whenever we would go trick-or-treating as kids, we'd all go out and do our trick-or-treating. We'd come back with a bunch of candy, and then me and my siblings would convene in my room, and we'd dump out all of our candy on the floor. And, we all had candy we didn't like.
Yes, I did
and
that.
We'd do
I
the
did.
candy.
I don't have
We'd do
those.
candy exchange.
Friends?
My-
Oh.
It'd be like, I didn't like Dots, but I loved Reese's. It'd be like, I'll give you 2 boxes of Dots for that Reese's right there.
Yeah. So my family would just collectivize the candy haul. We'd pour it into a big bowl and everybody would eat it over like the next week or so.
Ah, communism.
Basically,
Basically.
Cringe.
normally I would like bring a pillowcase and I'd try and fill it up as much as I could, but
Yeah,
I could
no.
never fill it up more than halfway.
Yeah, no, we were a capitalist household. No one was getting any of my candy unless they could pay me for it
Yeah.
with either money or better candy.
One treat for one tricker.
What's your favorite Halloween candy?
This is a good question. Are you
All of them
okay.
hurt my teeth.
Are you talking about candy specifically made for like
No, just like
Halloween, or-
in your. So say you're a little lad trick or treating, right?
A wee little lad.
And you fill up your bag. You got a nice decent haul, and at the top you see that one
What are
that
you
makes
looking
your
for?
heart skip a
The one
beat.
that makes you excited.
And you get home, and that's the first one you eat because it's your
Dude,
favorite.
for
What
me,
would that be?
Is whenever I looked into the bag and right on top I saw a box of Sun-Made raisins.
I saw a toothbrush.
For
I got
me,
a
it's
rock.
when all the good things are on a bed of candy corn.
My
I
favorite.
hate candy
fucking
corn.
hate
I do
candy
not like
corn.
it.
I do not either. My favorite was Dots. I like Dots.
I hate Dots.
I'd have to say the pumpkin-shaped Reese's in the plastic wrappers.
Those were good too.
Just any Reese's. I'm a huge
Yeah.
Reese's fan.
I like crunch.
I always preferred like
What is
Crunch
it called?
bars.
Yeah, Nestle
like
Crunch.
the Nestle Crunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, they slap.
They do.
I always preferred any form of chocolate.
Hershey's.
Chocolatey candy.
Yeah.
Hershey's, Reese's, Nestle Crunch, Butterfingers,
Kit Kat.
Kit Kats, any chocolate candy I would prefer to like a gummy fruity candy.
Agreed.
That would
For
usually
me-
be the trade between me and my siblings. It'd be like, give me some of your chocolate and I'll give you some of this fruity candy.
For me, Hershey almond also kicked ass.
Oh,
I'm
I
saw one
allergic
of-
to almonds.
That's
so-
unfortunate.
Almond Joy.
Do you know Jake's allergic to apples?
I don't like Almond Joy.
But you like apple juice?
Yeah, but it's like not the same.
It is the same.
But it's not.
See, you don't get it, Kagan. He's just allergic to the trace amounts of cyanide that are in the seeds.
I think what it is it's like the yeah on the apple. You know what I mean?
The yeah.
Yeah. Whenever you yeah it's the apple.
Oh yeah. Whenever you look at an apple and you take a bite, and you're like, oh, the yeah.
Yeah,
The
you know,
essence
you
of
understand.
apple.
No, but I think it's like the skin of the apple. I don't know.
Then peel it.
I don't know. But it's also I want to say things to you, Kagan. But I'm not.
I'm going to touch
Not.
you.
I'm gonna refrain. I'm gonna refrain. I don't know what it is. I'm allergic to a lot of fruits. So,
Ooh,
anyways,
so there was something.
And nuts.
I've got weird allergies
Back-
too.
tree nuts. Yeah.
The
I,
only-
I used to be allergic to everything. I think I've talked about this before.
The only thing that I know of that I'm actively allergic to is wasps. Wasp venom. If I get stung by a wasp, I swell up big.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say, Halloween style food snacks. One of my favorites are the little popcorn balls.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That they're like all it's covered. It's like caramel and it's just a ball of popcorn. You just eat it like an apple.
Yeah.
It's like caramel popcorn, like kettle corn.
I hated those things.
It's kind of like Cracker Jacks, but a big ball of them.
Maybe I just
Yeah.
got like the bad stale ones or
Maybe.
whatever.
I-
They
I-
were always just meh.
I
They
messed
were
them
always
up.
stale.
I messed them up.
They're good though.
I'd be like, what is this? Is it
Oh.
a baseball?
Boys, I just received news
yeah?
that Kayla's dad got a 3D printer.
Oh.
So I'm like, Kayla texted me. She's like, I kind of want to fuck with it and see what happens.
Don't
He'd probably make you buy the
Hey.
filament.
don't
How
let-
big?
Don't let her
He got-
fuck the printer.
He
Those are
got
expensive.
he got one of the resin printers instead of the filament printers.
What did you say?
I said, don't let her fuck the printer. Those are expensive.
I
I had a buddy in college that had a 3D printer. I'd go over to his dorm.
thought you were gonna say I had a buddy that fucked a 3D printer once.
I had a buddy that fucked it. No, it was an HP printer.
I still need to get a
They
3D
still
printer to
suck.
print parts
Yeah.
for things
For things.
that the government would not like.
Wink, wink.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Not a big fan of
The government. 30 on 30.
So our episode today is about short stories, short horror stories.
Yep.
Can I go first? I only have one.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So these These stories are going to range from like 2-sentence horror stories to like maybe a paragraph. They're short.
Yeah,
Mine's-
not like a whole novel.
Some of mine have like a couple paragraphs.
Okay.
I think the biggest one has like 4 paragraphs.
That's all right.
Yeah, mine are decent length. They're
Ethan?
still considered short. But
I'd like to go first, specifically because
Yeah, I was just joking.
you know, I have one and it's just really short, nice and sweet,
Yeah.
simple to the point.
Mine's the best, so it'll go last.
So man, it's going to be like watching a really good movie with a really bad ending.
Yeah.
But these we're going to talk about these stories and talk about them afterwards. And all of these stories, I believe, were found online. None of them are. We didn't come up with any of them,
I
so
found
we're not
all
taking credit
mine.
for any of them.
We're not that smart.
I found all mine on the best place on the internet, Reddit.
Reddit.
Yeah, that's where I read it.
Everybody collectively
Did you read it from Reddit?
believes-
Yeah, I read it on Reddit.
You read it on Reddit.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Oh,
Yeah,
brother,
you know
this
me.
guy
stinks.
You know me, I'm kind of a redditor.
You look like a redditor.
I'm not.
Do you have a Discord kitten?
I never go on Reddit.
What's
Hardly.
the equivalent? What's the equivalent of a Discord kitten on Reddit? Or
A Reddit
Moderator?
mod.
Reddit mod?
Yeah,
No.
same as a Discord mod.
Nice.
They both.
But yeah, the only thing I use
They
Reddit
both
for
goon.
is I have one subreddit
Oh,
that I
yeah.
like to go back to called r/distressing memes.
Yeah.
It's memes that put you in distress. You read it and you're just like, oh.
Oh.
Oh my.
So Adam, what you got for your first one, man?
Okay, so this one's real simple. It's one sentence. You ready?
I don't know.
Swear to God.
Just real short, simple. I shit my pants when I was 6.
Is
Is that
okay?
it?
Yeah, that's the first one.
Okay.
Truly horrifying. I saw it. It was like, it was either on r/scary stories or r/no sleep, you know, some of
Yeah.
the bigger ones. And it was like the 3rd highest upvoted. So I had to throw it in here.
Is that
Okay,
your, is that your
alright.
goof one you were talking
Yeah.
about?
The other 3 are serious.
Okay, cool.
I just had to get that one out of the way. I
Yeah.
saw it and I had to include it. But that's truly horrifying. Imagine you're in your kindergarten class and you just make brown.
Ethan
We
did
talked-
that.
yeah,
I
we
did
talked
that.
about
He
that.
flooded his lap
Except
with
it was
shit.
liquid brown.
Except Ethan.
Okay,
did
but
it-
if it's not liquid, then you know you could have the opposite where it's like heavenly and you just have a glorious pillow of poo.
A
a
solid
nice
you know,
ball.
cushiony
yeah.
seat.
Yeah.
Because you remember? Okay, so do you remember those shitty desks that you had where it was like the metal
Shitty.
seat with the wooden, like the metal bottom, like it was like a box, and you'd put your like stuff, the books and
Yeah,
stuff in
yes,
a little cubby,
yes.
and then it was a wooden seat, wooden back, and then the desk was on the front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those things were the most uncomfortable thing on the planet. So I feel like that would actually, you know, make it a little bit more comfy.
True.
It was warm too.
Yeah, for at first. Give it about 10 minutes and it'll be ice cold.
Truly terrifying, Adam.
Yeah, thank
Truly.
you.
Good
Thank
start,
you.
good
yeah,
start.
That one I read it and I was, ah!
Reddit.
Yeah, read it.
Made me think of the Homelander thing.
Who wants to go next?
Ethan.
Ooh.
Let's
Me?
hear- yeah, let's hear yours.
Who,
Big guy.
Ethan, you have the best one out of any of us,
I
okay?
forgore.
No,
you forgot
didn't.
you typed it out.
What was it?
Okay.
Oh my God.
What was it? It was literally 2 sentences, dude.
Homelander.
Or maybe 1 sentence. It's like
Oh, I got it.
Oh.
I got it. There was a knock at the door. I have social anxiety.
I think we should end it there. This is not
This is not
I'm
it.
glad we got the not serious ones off the table
Remember we
first.
were talking about the topic in the podcast group chat earlier, and Alston sent that, and then Ethan was just like, "I'm using that," but I didn't realize it was going to be your only one. I thought you were going to put some effort.
Yeah, no,
I've had a rough week. Okay.
I have 3 more and they're all pretty good.
I'll go next. I have a lot of like 1 sentence ones.
Good. Let's hear these.
You ready?
Yep.
All right. The longer I wore it, the more it grew on me. She had such pretty skin.
Ooh.
The skin was growing on you?
You take that however you want, man.
I think it.
Was she still alive in some way?
I don't know. Was she?
I take it as, you know how your body kind of adapts to things?
Yeah, but
Maybe
not when
he-
you're dead.
Well, he's alive. He's wearing someone's skin as a bodysuit.
Yep.
Basically.
Why is it growing?
Vector.
He-
Oh
okay.
yeah.
So what I'm gathering is just it's your standard. The longer I wore it, the more it grew on me. Like you put on a shirt and it's like I don't really like this, and then you wear it a little longer. It's like okay, I like it now.
Yeah.
See, that went
That's what. Yeah.
right over my head.
So
Yeah.
yeah, he's just like the longer I wore it, the more it grew on me. And it's like she has nice skin.
It's nice and soft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a nice little
I
one.
like that
I
one.
thought. Yeah.
See, I love 2-sentence horror stories. They're so good.
Some of them are really good, but as I was researching and finding some of them are really cringy.
Yeah.
Some of them are like come on.
I love that. There's a knock at the door. Can I come in? Said Mr. McKiller guy.
I think the most if you look up the scariest 1-sentence horror story in the world, it's like the last man on earth sat in a room. He heard a knock at the door.
Yeah, I've heard that one.
Yeah, that's the one that I saw
That one's a
most
classic.
frequently.
I love that
yeah.
one.
I heard one. This was when I was researching. I heard it read. I heard a tapping at the window, so I went to check it out until I heard a tapping at the mirror.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I saw that
Oh,
one
yeah.
too.
And I was
yeah.
like, ooh.
oh my god.
Oh my God.
Oh my god.
Or like I saw what it was like. The man at the top of the stairs said my mom should leave, and I just thought, get out!
You need to leave.
You need to leave.
You need to leave.
Oh, I've heard some. I saw a few good ones, but I'm not going to say any
Yeah.
of them that I saw, just in case they're on somebody else's list.
Okay, I guess I'll go. And
Yeah.
I had Chat GPT write this one because I was curious to
Okay.
see what it could produce. And I mean, I think it was okay. It's not like innovative, but late one night, Mark heard a soft tapping
Markers.
at his markers. I don't know. I read that and it just didn't sound right in my head. That's why I paused.
Markiplier.
Let me try again.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mark Ply. But
My name is Markers.
late one night, Mark heard a soft tapping at his window. Living on the 10th floor, he assumed it was a branch or something blown by the wind. But as the tapping grew louder, he felt compelled to look. Pulling back the curtain, he froze. A pale face with hollow black eyes was pressed against his glass. Its mouth twisted into a silent scream. But that wasn't the worst part. The figure was upside down, as if standing on the window's edge, defying gravity. Mark stumbled back, his heart pounding. Suddenly his phone buzzed with a message from his neighbor. Why is there a man crawling on your ceiling? Mark's blood ran cold. Slowly he looked up. There it was, grinning, eyes fixed on him.
How does his neighbor see his ceiling?
Maybe it was like across from like the build, like
Those apartment complexes, they're like a
Yeah.
big U or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
where he just noticed like there's a motherfucker
weird.
on that guy's ceiling. Maybe I should
Turns out the guy, the face outside the window, that's his neighbor. And he messages him, he's like, hey man, why is there somebody on your ceiling?
He goes, what?
Kagan, funny enough, that was actually one of mine, but it was a shorter one. It was the grinning face stared at me from the darkness beyond my bedroom window. I live on the 14th floor.
Oh,
So it's the same,
Yeah,
it's the same
but
kind of thing.
Remember, ChatGPT and AI in general sources from already existing
Right.
things and
Yeah.
kind of makes it into something different.
That's probably
So-
like an amalgam of like 10 creepypastas that it just
Yeah.
kind of threw a bunch of ideas together.
Not bad though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean-
I did a couple of them because a couple of them were already just. Excuse me. I've been drinking soda. I've got carbonation in my
Just
lungs.
growl it.
The demons possessing me. But a
How
lot of
fitting.
them were just amalgams of stories we've probably already heard, and I was like, I'll do this one. It sounds the best, reading it out loud compared to other ones. So that was my first one, and I just wrote ChatGPT as the author because
That's the author.
What did you use as like a? Did
Thank
you
you,
like, give
Mr.
it a prompt or
GPT.
anything? Did you say write me a scary story?
I said, write me a terrifyingly short horror story. Terrifyingly short horror story, and that's what it gave me. And I was like, it's not bad. It's not terrible.
Fair enough.
It kind of reminds me of the Black-Eyed Children.
Yeah.
mixed
Yeah.
with like I don't know, like a home intruder.
That actually reminds me of a creepypasta. Do you remember this one, Kagan? It's called The Sandman.
Yes.
Do you remember it? In that story, I'm not going to go into it in depth, but in that story, there is a creature that is stalking this man.
Oh,
and
it's called the Abstergo Man.
That's not it.
Oh, that's
a
not?
different one. I'm
Oh.
talking about the Sandman, and basically it's about this demon or entity that is stalking this guy. He's wandering around his house, but he can never get a look at it. It's always in his periphery or just out of view, and it's like slithering around his house. So there's this one part in the story where he describes hearing slithering. And he's imagining this thing like slithering across his ceiling, like just out of his view. And that shit creeps me out, dude.
So it's
'Cause
like living with you. It's just you're always out of view.
I'm always slithering around. Yeah.
It's like that in Gravity Falls, and you know that little shorts thing that they would do like in the commercials, Dipper's Guide to the Unexplained.
Yeah.
There was that one about this creature called the Hide Behind that was always like just out of sight. And
I don't remember that.
At the end of the little short, Dipper's like, I guess it's just fake, and he turns around and he starts walking away, and it comes out and starts walking behind him, and it'll like make a noise, and every time he turns around, it like contorts to fit behind a tree.
Oh yeah.
And then he'll be like, and it'll start walking again, and it'll come back out, and then it'll, contort to fit behind a different tree. It can just always change shapes to be just out of sight.
It's similar to what we were talking about last time with like creatures that don't move if you're looking at it.
Yeah, kind of like
Similar, but you can't see it.
Yeah.
It's, no, I'm good.
All right,
I'm
Adam,
good.
What
My
you got?
turn?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yippee.
Which one should I read first? I do have a favorite out of these three. I think
Yeah.
I might save that one for
You don't
last.
you don't
Okay.
have to put these any particular order either. Just
Yeah.
I thought I'd start with the ChatGPT one because it was the shortest out of the other two. So I was like, I'll give a what is her palette with a little
Ethan
shorty.
gets a show this episode. He's
I
like,
do.
tell me, more stories, yay.
All right. I think I'll start with this one.
All right.
Alrighty. So, a man decided to go on a hike by himself, something he was not very used to. The whole day was normal. Trees and bushes engulfed his surroundings. He enjoyed being outdoors in the mountains. Nothing seemed strange to him. That was until he was making his way back to his car. He figured an 8-hour hike was good enough. The sky was already getting dark, and he needed to get back, fast. What was odd was how much he didn't recognize the trail back. He began to panic. Night had already taken over, and all he had was a flashlight and no clue how to get back. He knew it was already too late, too dangerous to keep going through the perilous forest. He began to worry that he would have no shelter for the night, when almost, unexplainably, I messed up.
It's okay. It's okay. We can't be perfect.
I lost my place.
Almost unexplainably.
Yeah. I lost my place.
Okay,
I found it. He began to worry that he would have no shelter for the night, when unexplainably he stumbled across a broken-down cabin. It was dark, and it seemed like no one had visited it in years, but he knew it was the only place where he could rest until daylight, especially since the flashlight was running out of battery. He knocked on the door a few times, but no one answered, so he let himself in, where strangely enough there was a perfect bed for one person in the cabin. He walked in and laid on the bed, but the only thing that was unusual was that there were many portraits on the wall of faces, creepy faces, wearing a smile that sent chills up his spine. But he couldn't dwell on it for long, as his exhaustion overtook him and he fell asleep. The next morning, he got up early and was shocked to see that there were no portraits in the cabin, just windows.
Oh.
No, that's a good one.
Yikes.
I like that one a lot.
But first off, an 8-hour hike. Jesus Christ.
That's a pretty average hike.
Yeah.
For who?
for people who hike.
I don't. Okay, so I don't hike, so that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, for,
Okay.
for
That
people who hike on the reg, they make a whole plan to go out in the woods and walk around for the entire
The
day.
entire day.
They're like, I
yeah.
plan on dying in
Yeah,
these
whenever
woods.
whenever I hike, it's like a couple hours is good.
Yeah.
You ever heard of rucking?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
What is it?
You load up a bunch of shit and you walk all day.
Do you have like an end goal or destination?
Nope.
You can hike, you can walk, you can run if you want.
Isn't it
but-
basically just bring essentials, necessities,
Mm-hmm.
walk into the woods and just kind of stay in there for as long as
you
want,
can, yeah.
as long as time and supplies and your own desire to stay there allows.
Yep.
That reminds me, when I was younger, I used to go in the woods behind my mom's house a lot. And then I started reading scary stories about the woods. And I realized maybe going out there, my own paranoia would get to me because I would hear things like snapping and breaking, but I wouldn't see anything. So I'd be like, oh, I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Some of my favorite horror stories involve just the wilderness and the woods.
Yeah.
In the unknown of what could be watching you.
Yeah.
That reminds me of a creepypasta about a monster in the Appalachian Mountains.
Yeah.
It's really good. I listened to it from Creeps McPasta. It's a good one.
Have you listened to
It's a
any
good
Dark
one.
Somnium yet?
I haven't. I actually forgot the name that we were talking about, and I was listening to Scary Stories last night, and I was like, what was that? And I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of the name. So you said
Dark
The
Somnium.
Dark Somnium.
Me and
Okay.
Adam listened to him the other day when we were getting Little Caesars.
Yeah.
It was called My Sleep Paralysis Demon's actually a pretty chill guy.
Yeah, he was.
It's
Adam
just
was
more
talking about
wholesome
that.
than anything.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a very wholesome one.
Oh.
And he named his sleep paralysis demon Mr. Brown Stick Legs
Oh.
because and the demon's like I lie beyond the mortal coil. I have for me, age isn't a thing, and I don't have a name either. So I like this name you've given me, Mr. Brown Sticklegs.
Speaking of wholesome stories like that, there is another creepypasta that I listened to a while back, and it was like The Thing in My Cabinets or whatever. And the whole story bases around basically a ghost in the kitchen, and then the narrator trying to figure out what the hell it is. And then at the end, you figure out it's like a ghost puppy.
Oh,
And it's very wholesome.
I've heard that one.
Yeah, it's very wholesome.
I think Dark Somnium might have narrated that.
Did
one.
he?
I think I may have heard it on his channel.
Again, I heard it from Creeps McPasta. I've listened to. He's done
I
so many.
I
dude.
might have heard it there too. 'Cause,
Yeah.
See, last night I was, whenever I was on my way back, like I said, I had a long day.
Right.
So the last hour of my drive was at night, and I was like, oh, this is prime time to throw on a creepypasta.
Yeah.
So I went on the Dark Somnium, and I listened to one last night that I really liked. Let me find it.
And Kagan, you mentioning the Abstergo Man earlier, that one's also a very good
that
one.
one's
And it's
that
freaky.
one
It is freaky.
That one scared me.
And it was by Creeps McPasta, right? And he added all the
He added audio to it. And that's what freaked
the
me
gasping and the yeah.
So the one I listened to last night, it was on the Dark Somnium. He posted it 4 months ago. It's called The Darkest Bed I've Ever Made.
out. Do you have a long and short of it?
Essentially, it's about this guy who he was going to school to be a lawyer, and he dropped out because it got too hard, and so his dad cut off all support and everything, and so the dude starts going to casinos to he's trying to get money. He's trying to win a bunch of money because he essentially wants a second chance at life to be able to go back to school and make something of himself, and and rebuild his relationship with his father. And so he gets approached by this strange woman while he's at the casino, who offers him that second chance, but it doesn't turn out the way that he expects.
Okay.
Essentially, I don't want to spoil anything in case you want to listen to it.
I kind of want to listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This woman is not your standard woman. She's just not some chick showing up being like, yeah.
And talking about favorite creepypastas, along with the Sandman, there's also one that I really like called The Thing That Stalks the
I
Fields.
knew you were going to talk about that one.
That's
such a good one.
Really like that one, and it's if you haven't heard it, listen to it. Again, I listened to it from Creeps McPasta, but essentially the title's pretty self-explanatory. A thing stalks
a dude
field.
lives on a farmhouse by himself, and the hay bales in his yard are moving at night by themselves, and he doesn't know what it is.
It's a very good way to explain it. It kicks ass. The thumbnail and the video for that creepypasta for Creeps McPasta is terrifying. It gave me nightmares.
I just sent the link to that Dark Somnium
Hell yeah.
thing.
Hell yeah.
One I really liked was My Wife Keeps Looking at Me from Behind Corners.
Yep. I listened to that one too.
That one sounds awesome.
That one's
heard
it's creepy too. It doesn't ever explain what happened to the wife, but it's very unnerving.
Nice.
When
you
it
just go,
comes-
ew, fuck.
When it comes to creepypastas and scary stories and stuff, I love the ones where the ending is left ambiguous. Because whatever your brain cooks up will be a million times scarier than whatever somebody can write down.
Yeah.
True. I always like the ones about the creatures.
That's
and
like
the
That's
Yeah,
like,
I like it.
I'm sure you can feel it. Like whenever you watch a horror movie where there's some kind of monster that's just out of sight,
Yeah.
and you never see what it is or what it looks like, that's
Dude.
like your brain can picture something and think of something that's going to be a million times scarier than whatever
That's
they can
like-
show
I
you.
do not like how most modern horror movies show the monster way too much. Like there are some perfect shots in some of these movies that I'm thinking of that are like, leave it like that. Do not show us more of the
That's
monster.
like one
Like
of
in
the-
Alien Romulus, Kagan, whenever towards the end of the movie where they show, spoiler, they
Baby
show
morph.
the baby morph. Not even that, but whenever he grows up and he's what do they call it?
I think it's called the neomorph.
The
or something.
neomorph, like it's half xenomorph, half
Human.
human, half engineer, or something like that.
Yeah.
But they have a shot of it that's like he's veiled in shadow, and it is creepy as shit.
He's
And
like
then-
on all fours.
Yeah, and then you see his face, and you see like the sunken in eyes. It's creepy. It's very creepy, and it's very effective.
That's
but
like
then,
one of the biggest things in horrors. Don't show too
right,
much of the
and then
monster.
right after that, you're like, holy shit, that looks insane. That is creepy as hell. And then like 5 minutes later, for 10 minutes, you see the whole thing. You see it in light. You see the creature. I mean, it's like you ruined it.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
you remember when Bird Box was popular?
Yes.
Bird Box is, and overall, is pretty mid. Like it's
I
nothing,
think it was a decent movie.
It's pretty
I mean,
mid.
I
But
never
the
seen
thing
it.
that makes it the best is the fact that you never see the threat.
Right. I enjoyed the movie
Like
too.
you
Kagan.
see how people react to it, and like what happens to people who do see it, but you don't see it.
They did release concept art of what the monster looked like.
Oh, yeah?
And from what I recall, it was like a giant baby's torso and head on like a snake body.
Oh yes,
is like
I
the
saw
best
that.
way I can describe
remember
it.
Seeing that.
It's also like I didn't watch what's it called? The one where it's where they have to stay quiet.
A Quiet Place.
A Quiet Place, yes.
In that one, in the first movie, isn't there like for the most of the movie you don't really see the creature?
Whenever you see the creature, they're
It's
called
usually
death
like-
angels.
it's
It's
usually
like,
like quick
It's
flashes.
very quick flashes. You hear
Yeah.
the noises, but towards the end,
They show it.
They show it a lot, and then they
Yeah.
have that whole scene at the end. Spoiler, where it's like walking towards the final girl and and her kids, and then
Yeah.
she shoots it in the face, and then that's where it ends. But
Where
they show it way too
it
much.
dies because like usually they're like
It's like a demogorgon.
impervious
Yeah.
to like attack, but it like
Right.
opens up. It has a thing on its forehead that like opens
like a
up,
flower
and
face,
It's vulnerable in there,
And that's where she shoots it.
shoots
Yeah, but
But that for like most of that movie, the creatures are super effective because
Right.
you don't see them. Like
Yeah.
you see these quick flashes and you have no idea what they actually really look like.
some other good examples of that would be in the movie It Follows, but that's a good one. It Comes at Night. Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
It's really good. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but it's really good. You don't see the creature, quote unquote, at all, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
And another piece of media that does this very well is A Haunting of Hill House. It's on Netflix. It's a series. It's like 8 episodes. I love that. It's one of my favorite things ever. And they, Mike Flanagan, the director, he planted a lot of hidden, quote unquote, ghosts around the house that the story takes place in. And it's like blink, you'll miss it kind of thing. So, and they're in plain sight sometimes, and that is awesome.
Yeah.
And you never get like a close up. You never get more than a second or two with that ghost, and then that's it.
The thing that humans fear the most is the unknown.
Right.
So any piece of like media that's supposed to invoke horror or terror, as ambiguous as possible.
Yep.
That's where you'll get the most. Like
Yeah.
because just the human imagination's enough most of the time.
There's a way to do it.
We'll scare ourselves a lot harder than any CGI monster ever will.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think we should move on.
I've got another
I
one.
feel like we're getting off topic.
Yeah.
This is in topic, man.
No,
Talking about
all the
stories.
talk of horror movies was.
Hey,
Hey,
it's
I'm okay
spooky.
with
Yeah, I'm okay.
But
with it.
anyways,
It's Halloween themed.
I got
Yeah,
another one.
Let's jump back. We'll never
All
get
right.
done though. I am in agreement.
It's been watching me for hours now. Sometimes I catch glimpses of its reflection on the computer screen, but dare not turn around. Which, also, if I'm playing a game, especially a creepy game, in my room at night with the lights off, with headphones on, I don't want to turn around, man. If I hear like a little noise and the audio is really good in the game, I'm gonna be paranoid. I'm gonna be looking at the door. I'm gonna be looking at my closet door. Fuck that. That actually made me jump a little
I
bit.
was trying to get you
yeah,
to jump.
that got me, and it got me in here.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you guys ever have that moment where, I'm sure if you have like other people in the house and significant others, you don't feel this much. But
See-
if you're home alone and you're playing a game or watching something, and there's a scene or something, there's an ambience that makes you paranoid, that you're like, I kind of don't want to play this game, but I kind of want to continue. But at the same time, I'm kind of freaking the fuck out.
See,
I have something similar.
Yeah.
I was sleeping and I had a poster on my wall that fell. I don't know what caused it to fall, but when it fell, it made the loudest noise. And I woke up and I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. I was like, what the fuck was that?
so
I do whenever I'm playing VR. I have horror games in VR. And dude, I almost beat the shit out of my mom for this. And I'm saying that because I was playing a horror game and it was dead silent. I didn't hear anything. My mom knew I was playing a horror game. She
Yeah.
came behind me
Ooh.
and I almost started with, "You fucking bitch, you fucking."
Dude, I'm gonna go after Adam, but I have a story.
okay, on the VR topic, you guys, if we still need to play Phasmophobia in VR.
Yes.
Two, I told y'all that I still have auditory hallucinations, and I used to have visual hallucinations. Like I'd just see quick flashes of movement, and I'd
Yeah.
look over, and there'd be nothing there. But there is a thing I'm having. It's more like a sensational hallucination. Like whenever I'm sitting at my computer and I'm playing on it, I'll just feel like the air move across the back of my neck.
You'd be like, huh?
And I like turn around and look because usually whenever I feel that, usually somebody standing behind me, whether it be Shay or Cage.
Yeah.
Like they come in and Cage is looking at what I'm playing, or Shay's coming in to tell me something, and but lately, like I'll feel it. Like I'll just feel the air move behind me. Like the hair on the back of my neck will just get moved by the air, and I'll turn around and there's nobody there.
No, I'm good. You can keep it. Okay, I have two things. One about VR horror, and I guess I'll start with that in another story. But VR, dude, I don't care what you say, but in VR, horror games are, in my opinion, the most effective way to play a horror game because you are in it.
Yeah.
You are in it. Like Five Nights at Freddy's, for example,
Like
the
Help
first one.
Wanted
Like Help Wanted, the first one. If you play a lot of the modes in that game are kind of ass, but there is like a full recreation of the first game in its entirety. It is terrifying. It is so scary, dude. I've played it a lot, and I don't play it much anymore because I'm scared of it.
Dude, I couldn't do
Like
Phasmophobia.
Foxy running down the hall like to scare you. That no, or the jump scares if you don't close the doors in time. That shit is awful because it's right in your face.
Yeah, I could not do Phasmophobia in VR. Just Phasmophobia on my screen is enough to spook me.
Phasmophobia in VR would send me into fight or flight.
It would literally, like, I would have a heart attack and die on the floor. Like,
I do have a funny story though. When I lived with my parents, I was playing The Last of Us Part 1, the remake that came out of the first game.
the remaster.
Yeah, the remaster, and I had my headphones in and my lights were off, so I was like in it. I was immersed, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you guys have played this game before, but especially with headphones on, the clickers, the infected in general, they sound horrifying.
Oh yeah.
There was this a scene in the game, or a part in the game where you're in a I can't remember exactly where you're at. I think you're in an arcade or something, but you fight a bloater, and when those things scream. When you're wearing headphones, it is terrifying, and then they start barreling towards you. Hell no! So I was in that part in the game.
Was it the first bloater you fight?
Yes,
It was in the
high school.
The high school gymnasium.
Yes. Okay. So that part happened, and my dad. I was living at my parents at the time. My dad does this thing where he doesn't sleep, and then he checks on all of us in the middle of the night, like at 12 or 1 or 2 a.m. And that part scared me. And he walked past my door, and I went. And then he opened the door and he was like, "Hey, don't do that." And I was like, "What the? I was scared. What do you mean?" He just looked at me and he said, "Don't do that." And I said, "What? Okay." I was scared, bro.
It's like, don't do that, you fucking wuss.
Yeah, you fucking, yeah.
Sometimes I'll be working and like I'll be in the zone. I'll have my headphones in. I'll be scrubbing the kennel, and I'll turn around and like a coworker will be there, and I'll be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Dude, one of my favorite things to do is I have a pretty light step. Like I can like sneak up behind people pretty quickly because I walk very quietly.
Yeah.
Because it's mainly because whenever I was younger, all throughout my life, I don't like to make noise. I don't like to be like perceived by noises I make.
Yeah.
So I learned how to walk really quietly.
Do not perceive me.
Yeah, like I didn't like the sound of my own like footsteps. I
Yeah.
felt like it attracted too much attention to me. So I learned to walk pretty quietly. And so like I love just whenever we're at the house, Shay will be in the kitchen doing something, like looking at something on the counter, and I just walk up and I'll stand like a foot behind her, and she'll just turn around and I'll be right there, and she'll be like, "Oh, don't." She's like, "I'm gonna beat your ass." Like,
Kagan, do you have another one? Because I was about to.
I have another one.
Okay,
Unless you
yeah,
want
go
to
ahead.
go.
You can go ahead. I just went. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this one is called "Writing on the Wall" by Erlin J. I credited the people, by the way. A young boy lay sleeping in his bed when he heard footsteps outside his room. He peeked out of his eyes to see what
He peeked out of his eyes.
I don't think the guy who wrote this story, his primary language was English.
Typo?
Because I read this story like 4 times, and there's some things that sounds like someone
Like, wait,
a foreigner
hold on.
would say. But he peeked out and to see what was happening when his door swung open to reveal a murderer carrying the corpses of his parents. Ooh. After silently propping them up on a chair, he wrote something on the wall in blood of the dead bodies. He then hid under the child's bed. The child got scared beyond belief. He couldn't read the writing on the wall, and he knew the man was under his bed. Like any child, he pretended to be asleep, and he slept through the whole thing and hadn't woken up yet. He lay still as a body, quietly hearing the breaths from under his bed. An hour had passed, and his eyes got adjusted to the darkness. He tried making out the words, but it was a struggle. He gasped when he finally read out the sentence, "I know you're awake," as he read, as he felt something shift underneath his bed.
Ooh.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think his main language was English because I was trying to, when I was reading that, I was trying to replace it to make more sense because it's a good story, but it was like, huh?
Say
What?
again.
Yeah,
What
so
do you-
I was kind of having to, ad lib some of that stuff so it was more coherent. Because if I would have read it word for word, you wouldn't understand what I was saying.
Kagan. I like the idea of crediting people for the stories we found. The one with the hiker and the cabin,
Yeah.
I got it off of a website that seems to be like a class project. It was a website made by a girl named Zoe Marland, and she posted on there. I don't think she wrote it, but that's where I got it. Yep.
Interesting. Do you want to go, Adam? Jake went to the bathroom,
Yeah.
so I think we
we'll,
should.
We'll break for a little bit because I want, we don't want to tell a story without Jake being here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So we're just gonna sit in silence and then edit it out.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why does the human body jolt whenever it's frightened? Like, what causes that to happen?
that's that your muscles tensing up in preparation to either fight or run, like fight or flight.
Okay.
Yeah, it's literally
That makes
It's
sense.
deciding what to do.
Yeah, it's your muscles preparing themselves for whatever choice your body
I
makes.
can imagine that.
Yeah.
My boss does this thing where,
Smack! Oh, I'm so sorry.
like, my boss does this thing where, yes, it's very loud where I work, and you need earplugs, but even then, you can feel like when someone comes up to you. My boss is somehow he's really quiet, even in such a loud setting, because I'll be welding, and I won't even see him come up to me, and then he'll just like spawn behind me and be like, "Hey, I need you to do this," and I'll be like, "Ah!"
Oh.
And I'll be just like, "What do you want?" I'll like genuinely get angry. I'm like, "What?
What?
What do you want?" And he'll tell me, and I'm like, "You're really quiet, right? You
to put a bell on you or some
yeah,
shit.
you need a bell or something. You are hauntingly quiet. It scares me.
Hauntingly quiet.
Don't do that again."
That's new.
Yeah. There he is. I heard the door open. Ethan, goddamn.
Welcome back, Jakey.
Hello.
You went potty?
Yeah,
Were you pissing brown or piss?
I peed on myself.
Are you serious? Is it just water?
It's wire.
Yeah, that's what I'd say too if I peed on
It's
myself.
just has suspicious piss stain on his pants. It's water, I swear.
You pissed on the blanket, didn't you? Didn't you little piss boy?
I didn't fucking pee on it. It's a water stain.
So,
pee boy.
where were we?
Was it my
Story.
turn?
Yeah.
I was crediting the first story. I liked Kagan's idea of crediting the people.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
Like I said, that first story about the hiker was from a girl named Zoe Marlin. It appears to be a class project where she made a website with like 5 of her favorite scary stories.
Ooh, nice.
Yep.
Okay.
What you got, Adam?
My turn.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm just when the human body jolts, like it's funny to me. I don't know why. I keep
Kagan's like, what?
I keep playing people being scared in my head, and it's
That and you get
Whenever-
enjoyment out of that?
Whenever you
funny.
scare Kayla, she always will scream and yell "fuck." She'll go "fuck."
Terry did that once.
Did he? It was funny.
She instantly regretted it.
What do you mean? That's a good horror story.
Terry did that once. She instantly regretted it.
What happened?
What you
You'll
doing,
never
Adam?
know.
What you doing?
Like I said, I was trying to go to the right places so that I could actually credit the writers.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't consider it whenever I was recording the stories.
Okay. Well, from my story, what did y'all think? Minus the lack of proper English.
It sucked.
It sucked. To be honest.
Okay.
I think it's a pretty good one. I like the idea of feeling like you're safe and then realizing that you're not. You know.
He's like, maybe
Just
he'll go away,
kidding.
and then he reads the writing. Says, "I know you're awake, bitch."
It's like hiding under your covers. Like if I can't see you, you can't see me.
Yeah, and
But
then
what if but except it was hiding with you under the covers?
It's like,
But-
what are we hiding from?
here's the thing: my gripe with short horror stories is you gotta.
Sorry, it's like the Cat in the Hat meme. Good idea. They'll never find us here.
So
Scream and run.
another
That's one in the closet.
another bit of credit posted by a redditor that I was 6 and I shit my pants was a Kenzie Dorji on r/scary stories. Okay, and this next one I also got on r/scary stories. It was posted by Out of Tune 7, and the story is just called Run.
Ooh.
Nice.
Alrighty, so let's get into it. Run, and if you can't run, then walk. And if you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, don't stop. It's only been an hour since everyone on Earth, as far as I could tell, heard those same words. I was already walking through the park when I heard them, and after seeing what happens, I won't be stopping anytime soon. It's been 2 hours now. I've kept walking. I'm tired, but stopping is not an option. Some people tried driving, but the act of getting in a car requires stopping, even for the briefest moment. And as those already driving when they heard the rules soon found out, it's impossible to move indefinitely in a vehicle, especially in a crowded city. Their screams kept me moving. It's been 4 hours now, and I'm exhausted, with the only thing pushing me forward being the fear of what awaits when I stop. And yes, I mean when. Proven by plenty of those around me, eventually I'll have to stop. Some have just given up, accepting their fate only to immediately regret the decision. Some just couldn't take the screams anymore, and most simply don't see a point of continuing. And with every step, I'm starting to become more like the latter. It's been 6 hours, and for the first time I saw what happens up close. I was walking aimlessly down an alley, trying to get away from the madness, when I saw a young man, no more than 16, crying. It didn't even register at first to me, until he made eye contact with me. He had stopped moving, his eyes were bloodshot, and not just the whites around his pupils, I mean the entirety of his eyes were crimson red. Black tears streamed down his expressionless face, and then he smiled, a wide, toothy smile that would have screamed of joy if it wasn't followed by animalistic screams that would give the biggest horror fanatic nightmares. I wish I could say witnessing his dying moments was the most horrific thing to happen to me today, but then it hit me, the realization I had stopped moving.
Ooh, shit.
I love the progression in that one.
Yeah, that one's good.
That one was very good.
Yeah,
I've never heard it too.
my thought was just get on a treadmill so you don't run out of area to move, and then
True.
you can.
But eventually you get tired.
Okay, but I feel like you'd last a lot longer walking than you would running.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, yeah.
That's why he was walking.
That's
throughout the story.
exactly the plot of It Follows. If it catches up to you, you're done.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember I watched a film theory on that, and Matt Pat made
Rest in peace.
God rest his soul.
Matt Pat made a video on like how you could avoid it, and it was like depending on if this thing walks everywhere and your commute is this far away. Basically, did a math equation. He's like, you could live life, you just have to time it perfectly so you can always just be avoiding him.
Everything
like,
is scheduled.
My thing is like, why not just push it into like a pit and fill it full of cement?
It's a good.
And
Yeah.
so this is
Yeah.
Christmas.
So, I did want to say that I thought of another favorite of mine, a
Yeah.
very short, scary story. It was also on that. I had already heard it before, but I also just saw it on the website of that girl that made the project or whatever that had the hiking story on it.
Yeah.
It was. Let me think of it. So late one, I'm gonna be it's a first person story, so
Okay.
I am the father in this story. It's pretty cool. Late one night, I heard my son call me into his room. He was afraid. I went in there to console him, and he said, "Dad, could you check under my bed for monsters?" I chuckled a little, and then knelt down to look, and I saw my son, a foot from my face, and he whispered, "Dad, there's someone on my bed."
I love that one. I've heard it before. I love
There's
it.
one very similar to that, and it's like my daughter was in her room, and she heard me call her from downstairs, and as she was walking down the stairs, I grabbed her and said, "Don't go down there." I heard it too.
That
Yeah,
that was
I saw
turned
that one
into
too.
that was turned into a short film, and it's really good.
Yeah, I saw
love
that
that,
one.
yeah.
It was exactly the same, except for it was the mom. It's
Yeah.
like I heard my mom call me for dinner, and I went running, and then I got pulled into the laundry room. I freaked out, and then I saw it was my mom, and she said, "Don't go down there." I heard it too.
I think it's called I Heard It Too.
That's
It's very good.
That's
I like it
that's
a lot.
gotta be
Oh,
It
yeah.
creeps me the fuck out, dude.
Those two are awesome. I love both of those.
I have a couple of shorter ones. Kagan, how many do you have left?
I have one more.
One, Adam.
One.
My one more.
I
is-
saved my favorite for last.
I have-
my last one's the longest.
Okay, I have four. But three of them are very short. So if you want me to, I can run through.
That's fine.
Ethan,
of
how
them.
many do you have left?
Zero.
Such a productive employee.
I'm just a
today.
little guy.
All right, my next one. Growing up with cats and dogs, I got used to the sounds of scratching at my door while I slept. Now that I live alone, it is much more unsettling.
Ooh.
Yikers.
It's like what we were talking about earlier, the ghost dog.
It's
Yeah.
like the one I told y'all last week. I think I told it after the recording was over.
Yeah.
It was like I was trying to sleep and I felt my dog licking my hand. I swatted at him and told him to stop. And then my dog walked into the room.
Oh, ooh, no! That reminds me of the story that I was telling. I think in the paranormal cases episode, the doll licking the.
Yeah.
No.
I'd hang my penis over.
I was going to say I'd hang myself.
I'd hang my penis over the ledge and let it get
Oh
licked.
no! Don't.
What if grass licked the bottoms of your feet when you walked
I'd
on
do
it?
the
I'd do the splits.
No, Ethan, I'd hang my ass over the bed, let it toss my salad. You know what I mean?
I'm
We were
sorry,
doing so
loyal
good.
listener.
Next one. There was a picture in my phone of me sleeping. I live alone.
That's a
Not
good one.
anymore.
Yeah,
Not anymore.
Looks like you got a roommate, bud.
Yeah. He doesn't pay rent.
Like on the a picture of you on a phone.
On his own
Yeah.
phone.
There's a picture of-
I was like, wait.
Yeah.
Do you have a picture of you sleeping next to you on?
That's weird.
Man, a lot of these
Okay.
go right over Ethan's head.
It's like
I'm blind and autistic. Okay, you got to be
it's like
more
you just-
specific.
you pretend to sleep and then you're like, take a picture of yourself. This will get a lot.
But your arm is clearly in the shot.
Yeah. No, that's not me. I promise.
Babe's so wild taking pictures of me, and it's obvious he's doing it himself.
Next one. My daughter won't stop crying and screaming in the middle of the night. I visit her grave and ask her to stop, but it doesn't help.
I've
Hey,
heard
can
that
you
one.
shut up? I gotta be at work in 2 hours.
You're kind of killing my vibe.
I gotta be at work in 2
Dude,
hours, and you
threw off my
screaming
groove.
is not helping.
That reminds me of. I saw a video of this guy. It was when you hear your son get something horrible happens to your son, but you can't pause the game. It's like this guy playing, and he hears the scream, and then he's like. He makes like a shocked emotion on his face, and then he just goes back to playing.
It's like when your
He's like,
son
"Oh."
when your son puts a fork in the outlet,
Yes,
but you're in the middle
yes.
of an Elden Ring fight, and it just shows a flash in this, and he goes,
That's the
Yeah, he just yeah.
It's the
yeah.
equivalent of like someone being like, "My grandma just died," and the response of the fucking warthog with its like mind blown.
What was it, Ethan? There was that post that I sent you with Master Chief flying out the windshield, and you said, "Spartan, why are you on the pavement?" And it's like gargling, like painful gargles.
Yeah, agonizing.
And then I
gargles.
said, "I thought you said there wouldn't be any cameras."
It's like I sent that video of Master Chief just absolutely shredding it on a skateboard. It was like they replaced the player model in one of the Tony Hawk games with Master Chief. Master Chief, you mind telling me what you're doing on a skateboard?
Sir,
shredding this gnar.
Shredding this gnar.
"You got any more, Jake?"
I have one more, and it's a longer one, so I'll
it's
let you
down
guys
to
go.
One for each of us.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, you want me to go?
Yeah.
Sure,
All right,
Kagan.
hit us with it.
So this one is called "The Chair" by Scoop Whoop.
Ooh,
When my
I
sister
love Scoop Whoop.
Betsy and I were kids, our family lived for a while in a charming old farmhouse. We loved exploring its dusty corners and climbing the apple tree in the backyard. But our favorite thing was the ghost. We called her Mother because she seemed so kind and nurturing. Some mornings, Betsy and I would wake up, and on each of our nightstands, we'd find a cup that hadn't been there the night before. Mother had left them there, worried that we'd get thirsty during the night. She just wanted to take care of us. Among the home's original furnishings was an antique wooden chair, which we kept against the back wall of the living room. Whenever we were preoccupied watching TV or playing a game, Mother would inch that chair forward across the room towards us. Sometimes she'd manage to move it all the way to the center of the room. We always felt sad putting it back against the wall. Mother just wanted to be near us. Years later, long after we'd moved out, I found an old newspaper article about the farmhouse original occupant, a widow who murdered her 2 children by giving them each a cup of poisoned milk before bed. She then hung herself. The article included a photo of the family's farmhouse living room. The woman's body, hanging from the beam beneath her, knocked over, was that old wooden chair placed in the center of the room.
Yikes.
This bitch was crazy.
Yeah.
Shit was crazy.
She was just reenacting her death. She'd give the
wildin'.
kids poisoned
She
milk.
wildin'.
Poisoned milk, and then she'd try and hang herself. Thanks, squad wipe.
Squad wide. I was looking for my last one so I could also credit the person who wrote it.
Gotcha.
So you can go first, Jake.
Okay, this is my last story. It's called The Puppy in the Basement.
Ooh.
Yeah. All right. Mommy told me to never go in the basement, but I wanted to see what was making that noise. It kind of sounded like a puppy, and I wanted to see the puppy. So I opened the basement door and tiptoed down a bit. I didn't see a puppy, and then Mommy yanked me out of the basement and yelled at me. Mommy had never yelled at me before, and it made me sad, and I cried. Then Mommy told me to never go back into the basement again, and she gave me a cookie. That made me feel better, so I didn't ask her why the boy in our basement was making noises like a puppy, or why he had no hands or feet.
Huh? What?
Okay. Alrighty then.
Alrighty then. That story is... I love stories like that where it is a ghost, or you assume it's a ghost because of the context, and then you get like little descriptions of the physique of the ghost, where it's like their limbs are disproportionate, or it's like a little girl, but she's like 6 feet tall and her skin's stretched, and
Ooh.
yeah, and her fingers are like,
Elongated.
Elongated. One leg is longer than the other. She's got a hunch. It's like, I love that kind of stuff because it puts a picture in your mind. And you're like,
Yeah.
fuck that. That in particular.
I'm not
fuck
a
that.
big fan of whatever the fuck that is.
Yeah. I do not like that at all.
Get it away from me.
Yeah.
Get it away. You can have all of it. I'm good.
Did you find it, Adam?
I did.
All right.
I thought that was a good one, though.
That was a good one. I enjoyed that one. Mine, it kind of has a similar thematic through line.
Yeah.
So
Of what?
you'll see after.
Okay,
I read
okay.
it. So I found it. It was posted to r/short scary stories by user Mellow Yellow Sun. So, and it was, I think it's my favorite out of the ones that I, typed up in this Google Doc.
I gotcha.
It doesn't have a title. All right. I know my husband is cheating on me. It's funny. Something like 60% of marriages end in infidelity, but you never think it'll be yours. There are so many articles on it, too. How to tell. What signs to watch for. Is he spending too much time at the office or just working hard? Crappy episodes on daytime TV, some silly girl sobbing as it's all revealed. These articles, shows, dramas, they're for weaker women. I knew the moment my husband didn't love me anymore. Oh, it'll start small. He'll smile more for no reason. He'll laugh at little things she says or does, things that he would never in a million years found funny if you had said them. And it'll only get worse. His face will light up like a sun when he sees her, and he will see her. You can't stop it. She's everywhere in his life, invasive like a cancer or a leech, sucking all of his attention and love away from you. And then, even worse, his friends, your friends, will notice. And they'll tell you they've never seen him before like this, how happy he is. It's enough to make you sick. And finally, he'll tell you. He'll tell you he's never felt love like this before, and that he doesn't know how he lived without her. Well, something had to be done, obviously. I love my husband, and I'm not having some little temptress steal him away from me. What kind of woman would I be then? No. So I took matters into my own hands. Thank God she's still little. I don't think I could have drowned her that easily if she could walk just yet.
Oh. Oh, no.
Oh my God.
Yikes.
That one
Gulp.
takes the cake. Yeesh. Egad.
I had a feeling I knew where this was going after he said she's in every facet, and
I thought
you
she was
can't
just going to kill like the girl he was obsessing over, not
Well,
the
she did.
fucking daughter.
Yeah, she did kill the girl he was obsessing over.
But it's like I kind of got where this was going when you said you can't avoid her because she's always there, and I was like, oh no, oh no, I know where this is going.
That's a good one,
I
Adam.
thought it was like a classic cheating story, and then it did a complete 180.
Yeah.
No, your wife is fucking crazy.
When
Yeah, I
got-
thought
when I
you were
got to
just
that-
playing out a whole episode of Snapped there.
Yeah,
but
no.
damn.
When I got to that last line, whenever I read it the first time, I was just like, oh.
Oh.
Damn.
Yeah, and the comments agree. And I just wanted to say something about it whenever I was looking. After I read it, I obviously scrolled through some of the comments and the responses and stuff. And everyone's obviously like, it was a good story, so everyone's like,
Yeah.
that was really good. Apparently, it was their first time ever posting on the subreddit.
Oh, damn. Okay.
And everyone was like, okay, well,
Only hitting dingers.
one of them said, well, your first try made it to the top of all time, you little shit.
Have you guys ever made horror stories?
No,
No.
You ever tried your hand at it?
No.
I've wanted to, but I don't have that creativeness.
I actually made a horror story in college.
Read
It's
it.
called Stoplight. I don't have it with me, but
You don't remember it?
I don't remember it off the top of my head. No, it's like 4 or 5 pages. It's a short horror story, but I mean, I got an A.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I might tell it some other time on the podcast, but yeah, I was wondering if you guys had. You said you had interest in making them, but you
I
didn't
had
have
interest, but I can't really think of something that would be original.
Mine is, it's sad, but essentially it revolves around like a family. A daughter has cancer, and the parents don't handle it well. They get a divorce.
Oh no.
Dad lives alone. Dad's having like a bad time, and that's as far as I'll go with it. But I thought I did pretty well. Not to
Not to
toot my own horn, but yeah,
Sounds interesting.
I thought it was. But
It sounds very depressing.
that's me, man. Right on brand.
I like those kinds of horror stories that
Yeah.
are depressing.
Yeah.
Like that one, I forget if it was Jake that read it, with the boy and the puppy in the basement.
Yeah.
It's where it's kind of left ambiguous.
Oh, yes.
Those are good ones. Because nothing wanders like the human mind.
Mm-hmm. Like Adam said, that's like the it's the
Ambiguity.
best source of horror is the imagination.
Ambiguity in horror is the like the best thing you can do in horror.
So speaking of, there was this page I started following recently called Scarewick Official or Scarwick Official, and he makes a bunch of little horror shorts on YouTube on Instagram, not YouTube. And one of them was just he's asleep in his bed, and it's got that really grainy footage to make it look creepy.
Oh.
He's just asleep in his bed, and then you see his bedroom door just slowly open, and then he just wakes up and looks at the edge of the bed. And that's all it is it's just a long shot of the edge of his bed for like 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And then he puts, like, at the end, it's like the scariest thing you can do is let your mind run wild with what it could be. Because there was no monster. He literally just left it ambiguous. I was like, ooh, made me feel uneasy.
He just lets you like look at this shot and wait for something to come up over the edge of that bed, and nothing ever does.
Yeah, and I was like, ooh, that's
I
a little unnerving.
I forget. There was a video I was watching about horror because as you know, at this point especially in Hollywood, the horror genre is kind of
Lame.
played out, kind of lame. It's kind of phoned in, and it was a dude like doing a deep analysis on what it means like to write horror and the differences between horror and terror. And it was like he quoted a Stephen King quote, and it was like horror is anything that you can think of that would be generally accepted as scary, blood, violence, monsters, stuff like that. And the way that Stephen King described terror is you walk into your home and every piece of furniture and everything that you own has been replaced with an exact copy.
Hell no.
Yeah.
That doesn't bother me.
Okay, but like when you start to notice the little things, you're like, wait, that's not how that is. That's wrong. And
That
then you
table,
look at, then you look at,
was chipped.
right,
It's
and then
not
you look at
chipped
something
anymore.
else, and you're like, what? That's not right either. And then you start looking around and you notice all these things. Like that would put me in a state of
Terror,
severe
that's
paranoia.
like-
I feel
Here's
like terror
the
has
thing,
to
though.
be subtle.
Here's the thing though, Jake.
like uncanny.
All those scratches and dings, they're still there. They're exact copies.
They're
but
the
you
exact
just
same.
know. Like you just somehow that these are not your original belongings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel it's just a feeling. Like
Yeah.
you said, if I walked into my apartment and everything was replaced, it would feel off.
I think I was watching I think it was Vsauce who
Hey,
put that Stephen.
Vsauce.
Yeah,
Michael here.
he talked about that Stephen King quote. It's been a long time since I've watched Vsauce. He doesn't post anymore. I miss him. But
I swear, if my toothbrush was replaced with an exact copy, but someone else had been using it, I would probably do something heinous.
it's like imagine if you or the idea of like you walk into your house and everything seems normal, and then as you're just going about your usual routine, you realize that things have just been moved, just like a little thing here
Slightly,
and there, like a little thing here and there. It's like, I put it on that table. Why is it over there on that table? It's like,
Start second guessing yourself and fucking spiraling, and then it just gets out of hand.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like true terror is more subtle things. Like
For sure.
horror is overplayed because they overdo jump scares. They show the monster too much. But if you look on YouTube, and like some of the greatest things I find scary on YouTube is like a good example is Mandela Catalog.
Oh yeah.
Like just the uncanniness and the scariness of like the found footage tapes of There's another YouTube channel I watch called like 4K, I think. And he does nothing but like liminal horror.
I love liminal horror.
In each one of them is like I'm trying to think of the name for it. I can't think of the category of genre it's called. Like for example, is like the Backrooms, Maple County, Mandela Catalog. It's the uncanniness.
Usually it's a analog horror.
Analog horror, yeah, I love analog horror, and like there's a good example of it is the movie Skinamarink.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I've heard of that.
I haven't seen it, but
You
I've
haven't?
seen a lot of stuff about it.
I have.
and I've heard it's very good in terms of terror because it's such subtle.
Okay, so with that movie, I love like long movies. I love psychological horror movies like that. But that movie is different in that there's hardly any dialogue in that entire movie, and it's like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours long. It's still a great movie, but if you don't have an attention span, and you, like a lot of the complaints from that movie is nothing happens.
I think
But-
that's where the terror comes in.
But that's the thing. There's subtle things that you'll notice whenever you watch the movie. Like specifically, something I noticed is like there's a lot of shots where the camera will pan around the house very slowly, and you'll realize there's no windows, there's no doors, there's just blank walls everywhere.
Yeah, it
And-
takes, from what I remember,
yeah.
it takes place perspective of like a little kid.
Yeah, there's
So,
two
like-
kids. I think Caitlin and Kevin are the
Yeah.
two little kids.
So I think Wendigoon explained it best because he made a video analysis on it. Is he explained when he was younger, he fell asleep on the couch, and when he woke up in the middle of the night, all the lights were off and no one was inside, and just that feeling of being alone in the dark
Yeah.
is what scared him the most. And it turns out they were all outside, but I've had experiences like that too,
Yeah, me too.
where I would pass out on the couch, especially in the house that I used to live in Texas. It was a lot bigger than my mom's house currently.
And you just wake up to darkness and
I'd wake up
silence.
to darkness and I'd go into my mom's room because it was right by the living room. She wouldn't be in there. I would search the entire house while it was pitch black. She would be nowhere, and the panic would set in.
Mommy!
Very
It's
fast.
exactly what that's like too, because you can, from my memory, you can. The parents are in the movie, but I don't think the dad is in the movie. I think it's just the mom. And there's a scene in the movie where the kids, I think it's the little girl, goes into the parents' room and she sees the mom with her back facing towards her on her bed.
like some Blair Witch shit.
Yeah, and I think she's like talking to the mom, but the mom isn't saying anything. She's just sitting there. And I think she might be humming, or it might just be complete silence, but I don't think she turns around at all.
I think
And-
there's one part where it swaps out the mom and the dad. Like,
Yeah. But yeah, the kids are talking to the parents and they don't say anything to them. And it's like, it's this surreal thing where as a kid,
It's like
Kagan said, you wake up in a cold sweat and you look around your house and no one's there. Your parents aren't there. It's just you. And it's just this freaky
and
experience.
when you're like
It's like-
4 to 7 years old, your parents are like your safe zone.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, they're like your whole world. Without them, it's just like a scary place.
and there's one
Yeah.
part in the movie.
I feel like that the movie is just an artistic representation of how that like feeling feels when you're a kid. Like,
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the sister disappears. Like she just just gone. They don't explain where she went. She's just gone. So you're left with the perspective of I think Kevin, who's like what 4.
Yeah, and mind you, like at the beginning of the movie, Kevin is injured like pretty badly. I think
He fell down the stairs.
Well, no, they talk about him falling down the stairs, but I'm pretty sure later on in the movie he gets like his eyes are damaged, like they're cut out or something.
So yeah. So what
stabbed.
happens is he hears a voice that whispers, "Put the knife in your eye,"
Yes, and then
and then he does.
He does it.
There a lot of people have compared it to the entire story is through Kevin's perspective while he's in the hospital.
yeah.
And because I'm pretty sure
Because you hear like the phone conversation of the dad talking to the mom. It's like he fell down the stairs. I don't really know what happened.
We're gonna
and
take him to
we're
the
gonna take him to the
hospital.
hospital.
And then the story ends, believed to be ending with Kevin dies in the hospital, and because he says something says like mom stopped visiting or Caitlin stopped visiting or something like that, which is them saying that they know that Kevin's not going to make it, so they've just
they
stopped
stop visiting
bothering
the
showing
hospital.
up.
Yeah.
And the story ends with Kevin dying in the hospital.
That is terrible.
It's a bleak
very,
movie, man.
It's very unsettling, but I think it gets the point across that is more terrifying to me than going to see Terrifier, which I love those movies just because
It's
they're
a different thing.
It's a real authentic,
experience
terror.
of like the fear of being alone
Yeah.
is one of the greatest fears a human can experience, because humans are social creatures.
Yeah.
We've always been social creatures. Whether you say you're an introvert or not,
You still socialize to some
humans
level.
are biologically
Hardwired to socialize.
If
to
you,
socialize.
If you are deprived of that, you will go insane.
So being alone is like one of the worst things a human can experience. That's why solitary confinement is such a big thing, because you will go insane. And just that thought of being like 4 years old and being alone in the dark,
Yeah.
it's the worst kind of fear that you can experience.
I will say, like Jake said earlier, like the feeling of just waking up in the middle of the night to darkness and silence and not knowing where anybody is and a cold sweat, like, yeah, that's scary. But like, so picture this. I'm going to say something that's even scarier. Waking up at like 3 a.m., cold sweat, same exact thing, except all you can hear is the song Tequila. And on your TV, George Lopez is jumping at you in slow motion. Or no, Lowrider. Sorry, not
Dude,
Tequila.
I remember.
Lowrider.
I vividly remember having.
You wake up in a cold sweat to Lowrider. And
Dude,
George
I
Lopez.
woke up. There was a time where I woke up in a cold sweat, and I was feeling awful, and I couldn't find the TV remote, and the TV was on, and it was stuck on some shitty Disney Channel original movie, and I was sick as a dog, dude. I was like throwing up bile. If you've ever thrown up bile, nothing
dude.
comes out of your fucking mouth.
That
But you have
sucks.
the feeling of throwing up, and I had a bucket next to me the entire night, and I was just like, this is actual hell. This is literal hell. Like, I'm having a premonition right now. This is what I'm going to do after I die. Like, the movie was awful. I was feeling awful. It was terrible. It was a terrible cycle. And then whenever I would go back to sleep, finally, I'd wake up, and then another fucking movie was on that was from Disney Channel, and I hated it, and it was awful. Ugh.
Dude, that reminds me of one of my terrible 3 a.m.
Yeah.
sweats. I woke up really early in the morning and I was sick.
Yeah.
But Rockadoodle was on. Do you know that movie?
Yes.
No,
the
it's
one with the Elvis
Elvis Rooster.
Chicken. Yeah, Elvis Rooster.
Dude, that movie is a fever dream.
I've never
It's
seen
worse than
Rockadoodle.
George Lopez.
So are
Lowrider.
Disney Channel original movies. They're
I had
fever
it on
dreams.
VHS. I hated the movie. I never watched it after that. Let me see if I can find
Was it playing whenever you woke up?
Yes, I think my parents put it in like right before I went to bed or whatever, and it was just the play screen. Oh my god,
Dude, I had a weird childhood relationship with horror because I think I talked about this in an episode that did not make it. But I grew up watching this. You don't recognize it? I know what you're
I've
talking
never
about.
seen Rockadoodle, no.
don't watch it.
But we had cable, and there was a channel on cable called like Chill or something, and all it would play is horror movies, old horror movies, new horror movies, like B horror movies that you've never heard of. And I would go to sleep watching that channel. I don't think my parents ever knew that I had access to it or I found it, but as a kid, I would watch them all the time. And I think that's where my desensitization of horror comes from, is because I grew up with it.
Yeah,
And I would watch I remember the scenes in my head, but I could not tell you what the name of the movie is or the context or whatever. So I would go to sleep with a horror movie on, and I would not have nightmares or anything. It would be fine. I'd be like, this is my comfort. This is where I thrive.
yeah.
So I've had a weird relationship with horror in life.
I remember I've never been too big of a horror fan. I just never really got into horror movies, never really cared for them too much. My
Me
mom watched them all the time.
Yes, my mom loves Halloween.
Yep. My mom was always watching horror movies.
Yeah.
So I grew up around horror a lot as well because my mom would just be constantly watching them. But I just never really cared for them that much.
Have y'all heard of the Twitter page "The Sun Vanished"?
No.
Dude.
Oh, I have.
You have?
I have.
You have to watch these videos and
Can
stuff.
you give us like a quick rundown?
Isn't it like an ARG?
It's like it's an alternate reality
Yeah,
kinda
ARG,
deal.
alternate reality game.
Yeah,
Where
but
basically it's
Game?
like it's sometimes they work as games, but people just call them ARGs because I think it boils down to like this dude's posting on Twitter, and the posts are supposed to be from him. He's not in this same like version of Earth as we are. He's in a different version where the sun disappeared or something
Yeah.
like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And he's like sending posts. He's posting in our world about how the sun's gone and all the things
Yeah.
that are happening over there.
It's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
that's interesting.
really good. It involves the monster or whatever it is being mysterious, like y'all were saying. Like you don't know what
Yeah.
it is, but you can kind of see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of my favorites is it's kind of like another analog horror similar to Mandela Catalog and stuff like that. I think it's called Local 58.
Yeah, I've heard about that one.
Wendigoon talked about it as well, where it's like it's kind of like a news thing, but also like an emergency alert government broadcast type thing.
Yeah.
And really, all it tells you is that the moon is bad. Don't look at the moon. Don't listen to what the moon says to you. Like, it's just really ambiguous about what the actual threat is.
Yeah.
But I love it. It's great.
Well,
Not to mention,
boys.
like I love psychological and cosmic horror. Cosmic horror is awesome.
Ooh, cosmic horror. That's a rabbit hole, dude.
Yeah, like some good old Lovecraft, you know,
Like Dead Space.
Yeah.
Cosmic horror.
or just some good old H.P. Lovecraft with like
True.
Cthulhu and Azathoth and
Yeah.
Yog-Sothoth and all of his wacky beings.
Well, boys, we did get off on a little tangent and a rabbit hole, but I enjoyed it. This was a nice episode. I think this will be our last episode of October. Our last spooky
Alrighty.
episode.
Already.
Yeah. Yippee! You guys have anything else to say before we head out?
What are y'all's worst candies? Like, what do y'all hate the most?
Did we talk about this last time? I think we said candy corn.
You know those little strawberry candies? The little, like, I'd call them granny candies because your
Are they
grandmother
like
would.
hard candies?
Yeah, and their wrapper looked like a strawberry.
You don't like those?
No.
Dude, I love those.
I don't really like.
I
those
hate
either.
Tootsie Rolls too. I do not like
Me
Tootsie
too.
Rolls.
I don't
I
care
like
for
Tootsie
Tootsie Rolls.
Rolls.
I do not. I've never liked Tootsie Rolls.
Yeah, I don't hate them. Like I can eat a Tootsie Roll and be like, I mean,
That's okay.
It's gross chocolate. Get that imitation shit
but I
out of
really
here.
don't.
It's
don't care
okay.
for
The
them.
best way to describe a Tootsie Roll is a Laffy Taffy, but chocolate. And that's just the worst thing
And
that
it's this
you
weird,
could ever hear.
It's like artificial chocolate that the
Yeah.
aftertaste is like tastes
Not-
like
not good.
plasticky.
Laffy Taffy wearing chocolate skin. That's
Yeah,
Ugh,
it's more like chocolate wearing a Laffy Taffy skin.
true. It's gross.
It's artificial
Tootsie
plasticky
Roll.
chocolate wearing a Laffy Taffy.
or those what are they called? The ones that turn your teeth into cement. Milk duds. Like,
yeah, I don't
nah.
like.
Tooth
I
I
cement.
thought you said you like those.
I don't like milk
I don't
duds.
like-
What? I
He
like
said
dots.
Dots.
I like
Okay.
dots.
I hate dots.
I don't like dots.
I love dots.
I don't like any of those chewy chocolate, like like Milk Duds or Tootsie
Dots,
Rolls.
dots are the best way I can describe it is they are like a candy that is trying to be another candy.
It's supposed to be like gumdrops, basically.
No.
I don't like
before
gumdrop.
buttons.
you say gumdrop or
Gumdrops.
okay,
Gumdrops.
yeah, okay, yeah, I knew it.
Yeah, like the gingerbread man. You know?
I knew it.
The gumdrop buttons.
I have one more short horror story before we get out of here.
Uh-oh.
Can I say one more candy that I don't?
Go
like?
ahead.
Swedish fish. I hate
Oh,
Swedish fish.
God, yes.
They're okay.
I hate
I actually
Swedish
think they're
fish.
okay.
I love Swedish fish. You two are on my list.
I hate licorice.
You're on my touch list, by the way.
Don't threaten me
Is
with a
that
good time.
is that the horror story? You're on my touch list.
No, the horror story was it's
It's hard to explain.
it's hard to explain. No, there's perfect.
Absolute.
Perfect.
cinema.
No, I was
Get
gonna
this
say
man a Grammy,
there
an Oscar.
there is a podcast called It's Hard to Explain. It's still going.
Oh, brother, this
Yeah.
guy
stinks.
stinks.
Well, so does this podcast. So.
No, it doesn't.
So does his ass.
This is
Shut
our,
the
Ass.
fuck your mouth.
This is our labor of love. Shut
Yeah.
up.
Shut
you know,
your
Jake.
face.
Maybe you should wipe sometime.
Yeah.
But then I'd be like everybody else,
True. Question authority.
right? Yeah, I want to be different.
brother. Amen.
Yeah. Quit
Yeah.
throwing your money at Charmin blindly.
It's like being a dry beater
Throw Molotov cocktails
In
in a
Those
world
are
of
lotion
lotion
beaters.
beaters. Don't wipe your ass. That's the moral of the story.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Toodles.
Would you rather be a wet shitter or a dry shitter?